Right, welcome back to the channel everyone. So today I'm actually out on a little ride, winter's ride. It's a little bit wet and wild out here. At the moment I'm down in a little town called Martley, and so I'm protected from the weather, but as I come up this hill, I'm going to come up probably and it's going to get a lot more windy. So you might hear that on the audio, but let's see how we get on. So yeah, it's 27th December. I've been, had a nice Christmas. Hope you all have as well. Just did Christmas Day, pretty standard. Everybody does the same thing. Had some food. Went over to see, well, my parents came up, Susie's parents. We went to see them. Did the presents and had some food. Tried not to overeat this year because I am guilty of that. And I'm trying to look after the calories this year. So I thought, well, I'm not going to overdo it at Christmas time in order then to have to undo it all in January. So I've actually been quite good, to be honest. I've just had smallish portions, enjoyed the food, had the desserts, but not had seconds, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's been pretty enjoyable. Now I'm out on the Vosges. So if you don't remember, this is my little pocket adventure bike, and it's 500 cc's, 471 cc's to be precise. And she's little parallel twin. What is it, 47 bhp, so A2 friendly. Just love getting out and about on her, really. Okay, it's not really a brand like a BMW or a Triumph or anything like that, but it does the job, gets me out and about. The bike had just sat for a while, and so I thought, well, I'm going to need to get the bike out and run it in a little bit, get everything up to temperature, fuel. That goes stale if you leave things too long, but also the oil, the coolant, get all the moisture and condensation out of the electrical system, let everything get hot, which I just thought was a nice idea. Also my riding as well, I don't want to become rusty, so even though the winter's a bit grim, most of the salt had passed. The salt they put on the roads here I think is gone now, so I thought, well, I'll take the bike out and just have a little ride around. So that's what I'm doing basically. Call me the all-year motorcyclist. But big up to his channel actually. I've really enjoyed watching Tame's content recently. So yeah, good for you, all-year motorcyclist. I'm taking a leaf out of your book today. Okay, so yeah, what else has happened? Well, look at this little bridge. Nice thing to just roll across. I've got new motorcycle boots. So I did. When I went touring, I actually wore track boots. It's a bit weird. I just put off and off getting new boots. I tried some RST Adventure X boots, but they were kind of like moon boots, huge, went up to my thigh basically. They were just stupid. Build quality wasn't very good, horrible to get on and off, couldn't fit them under the gear change of the Vosges, disaster. So I ended up sending those back, and then for Christmas, Susie actually surprised me with some of these, what they called Pharaoh Robin boots, and they're more like a traditional walking boot in profile. They come up probably to your calf. They're just really good. I've gone for a size up, I've gone for an 11, and they just fit nicely. They've got plenty of room in the toe. The boot itself has got, I think, stainless steel or aluminium clasps, which are really great. Durability wise, nice and tight around the body of the boot, but with space for my toes, so I can't complain really. Fully synthetic, keeping my feet warm on a day like today, fully waterproof, which my track boots aren't, and yeah, happy days, easy to get on and off. So I've been looking at motorcycles as well. Now this is something I'm really guilty of. It's kind of like, what if I had that, if I had this, if a new bike came, I'd be happy. I'd have a project to tinker with, and I guess we're all a little bit guilty of that. I've done a lot of that over the winter. I've been looking at the Royal Enfield Interceptor, the VSA Gold Star, the Royal Enfield Super Meteor, and then I've even looked at the Triumph T120, just to have something with a bit of oomph, a bit of torque, as well as the classic looks. But I can kind of identify it. It's like grasping, oh, if I had something new and shiny, everything would be okay, I'd be happy, as silly as it sounds. And that feeling, I'm just going to deal with it really. There is a certain element where a new bike would be nice, but getting out on the bike you already have makes you grateful for what you've got. And I think just riding this bike a bit, just enjoying it for what it is, that's something I'm going to appreciate today. I'm not going to rule out getting a new bike, and I know for the channel we kind of need to make content, and new bikes are quite an easy way of doing that. But I think I'm just going to keep my powder dry for a little bit longer. And I'm not going to be an early adopter as well, because I bought the Meteor brand new without seeing it. That turned out great, because that bike is really good. But I had a long delay of 8 months before I got on the bike after ordering it, and that was just really frustrating. Just go up. So yeah, and then obviously this bike. Now this bike is a nice bike, but everything else has turned into a bit of a disaster. The importer has basically ceased working with Vosges, so these bikes aren't going to be sold in the UK anymore. And that means that although they've made big promises about spares and availability, getting people to work on these bikes and know these bikes and everything is going to be not as easy as it would otherwise have been, shall we say. So that's not ideal when it comes to ongoing ownership proposition. I'm just going to tuck in here, because what else do you do? No wave or anything, just like, oh, you've gone the wrong way. I got out of your way. That's that. Yeah, but the Vosges has ended up a little bit really, we've been abandoned by the company. I know they're still importing to the rest of Europe, and Vosges have actually brought out some really cool bikes. They bought a 300cc, I don't know what it's called, 300X or something. It's basically an imitation of the Honda CRF 300L, which is a really, really nice and desirable bike. So Vosges have made one of those. They've also made an 800 DS, so kind of like this, but with 800 cc's, probably a parallel twin. That'll be a nice bike. But as far as what's happened to me in this bike, I've got kind of this 500cc, and I've got it really. So I'm just going to keep using it and enjoying it for a bit, I think. If somebody comes along and wants to buy it off me, then I'll consider that offer. I may put it up a sort of prospective advert, but I'm going to keep using it and enjoying it for now. So yeah, what else really? I've got the Daytona as well, which is an underappreciated bike. Really, really nice sports bike. I've been doing loads of classic and modern retro stuff on the channel, but I'm kind of ashamed to say, but that's because what everybody watches, that's the content everyone likes. So I haven't really done much on the Daytona. I crashed it, and then I now need to sort of put it back together again, get all of the panels spray painted, which is quite a big job, and it's actually quite an expensive job. Getting a whole respray on a bike is not cheap, and it's proportionally expensive compared to the size of the panels. So although the panels aren't very big, I think the detail that goes into them, and there's some flex in them, that means you've got to use flexible primer. All the little nooks and crannies have to be primed and filled, and everything has to be done, repairs in the plastic. It's very expensive to respray a bike, so I've got to get that done. And I think I'm going to focus my energies on that really, rather than sort of, as I said before, grasping to getting something new and getting stuck into a new project. Sort of appreciate what you've got a little bit, because I'm lucky enough to have 2 motorcycles. One's good for day to day, and the other's, to be honest, the other's bloody fun. you gain a 600cc sports bike. Okay, I know they're out of fashion, nobody likes them at the moment, they don't sell hardly at all, manufacturers is discontinuing them, but get all that out of your head, go ride one. They are a blast, quite literally. So I'm going to get that fixed up and just enjoy the motorcycle I've already got, rather than starting another project. When it comes to the channel, I've been thinking carefully about what I can do with the channel going forward, and I made another video on this which is already up, the video in Dubai where I just talked about the views that go to different types of content, and basically the summary of that video is that if you do bike reviews, everybody watches because it does well, the algorithm, the competition, if you're early, the competition is low on that particular search term, so a lot of people click on your video. Not only that, as well as the views, but also helps grow the channel, because people who wouldn't otherwise see you, perhaps aren't existing subscribers, they're then moved on to view your stuff, and then they might even subscribe. You might end up having them as long-term subscribers and viewers of other stuff you put up that isn't bike reviews. But I'm a bit disillusioned, to be honest, with some of the reviewers. Now I've done a review that was very honest about a particular bike. I kind of know that manufacturers aren't happy with you if you put out content that isn't complementary or in line with the marketing spiel that they put out. So I don't know whether to pursue bike reviews on the channel. I'm still thinking about it. As I said in my other video, I'm not going to go hard on the reviews at the moment, at least. I mean, obviously subject to change. If I get a nice relationship where I feel I can give unbiased opinion and I can have bikes supplied to me, then perhaps I'll do it. So I was actually a bit disappointed recently because I watched a channel that I thought was really legitimate, really sort of straight up. What's the word? Honest, straight up, unbiased, uncompromising. And they did a bit of a gushing video about a bike that's coming to market. And I thought, oh no, because I've actually ridden this bike, and it was almost like, you know, in Lord of the Rings when Gandalf finds out that Saruman's been cozying out with Sauron, and he's like, oh no, you've gone to the dark side as well. And this is what I thought when I kind of watched this latest video. Now, there is a chance that that reviewer just thought that everything was perfect about that bike, and maybe that is the case. They just really liked it, but there was no downsides at all to this bike. They just said it was brilliant and it was very gushy. So I kind of thought, oh no, you know, that's the influencer. They're going for views, and as I said in my other video, I think people are going to cotton on to that. There is going to be a backlash where the channels that are just doing kind of marketing promotional material, that's essentially what it is. I think they're going to get a bit of a backlash and people are going to turn off to that. I've seen a few comments where people have said, oh, you work for the company, or I don't think it's a mainstream view now that people have realised that influencers are very prominent in the industry, but there's a few people starting to comment, oh, this is just a kind of gushing review, everything's magical, that kind of thing. I think people are starting to cotton on to it. So, bringing it back to the point, what am I going to do? I don't think I'm going to go hard on the reviews. I know they make views and they make a little bit of money. And by money, by my standards, that's like under £100 a month. It's nothing compared to the amount of money I've spent on camera equipment, even fuel going to visit dealerships and bikes. Usually I get well under £100 a month from doing YouTube. But the people who are more successful, they're making, you know, up over 1,000. Perhaps if you've got a lot of views, you're in the 2,000 to 3,000 a month just from ad revenue alone. So where I take the channel, well, I don't think it's going to be hard on the reviews, and I think I'm just going to go with what I think is right, which is a bit of a mix on the channel. If I get a chance to ride a bike, I'll review it. But yeah, I'm not going to go down the sort of heavy review road for motorcycling. As I said, I might change my mind. I do change my mind quite often. But for now, that's my general opinion. If you've got any views on that, then please write in the comments, because if you've listened to this point of the video, well done, because I've been going on for a while. But I'd love to hear your opinion of it. Is there a way that I can get access to bikes, but give views on them that are really legitimate and outside of the echo chamber that you know, other influencers seem to be in? I don't want to be in the echo chamber, but at the same time I'd like to have access to bikes. So I kind of want the best of both worlds, and I don't think you can have one without the other. Alright guys, well, thanks a lot for listening to the vlog today. I'm going to be heading home in a minute, so I'll wish you well, ride safe if you do go out in this weather. Appreciate you tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks a lot, team.